Dan, there's something I need to tell you. I just got to get it off my chest right now.
Again? Man, this is like
Yeah.
second time in a month, isn't it?
I'm serious this time.
You got a lot of stuff. You got a lot of stuff swirling around.
I mean it. I am very serious when I'm about to say. If you don't do it my way, you are wrong. There, I said it.
Wow. Well, if you don't do it my way, you're wrong.
No, I said it first.
My way is better than your way, so therefore your way, if I were to do it, would not be as good as my way.
Yeah.
And you'd be wrong.
That is something that immediately popped into my brain when I just went across your video about recapping your trip to some big
home and garden show.
Home and garden show in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. And it looked to be a lot of fun. It was a massive operation. But you had an interaction with I don't know, not a customer, just someone who was trying to see if there was any synergy between you and him. And that was what popped into my head was, if you don't do it my way, you are wrong. There.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting interaction. It was another firewood supplier or producer, whatever you want to call he made firewood, and he had a proposition for me. He was wondering if I would be interested in.
So to summarize, you have turned a hobby, you being the passionate hobbyist that you are, you have turned your hobby into a side hustle, into a business. So you have found a market for small mini firewood.
Yes.
That goes into these new and small mini fire pits. And you are doing this through the mail, and you do it as much as you want. And I remember you telling me that you got your own threshold. If it got any more, you may not want to do it anymore. But you're still having fun. You're exploring. You're seeing what's out there. You take your show on the road to the Minneapolis Home and Garden Show.
Yeah, that's one thing. I want to walk before I run. And going to that big show, it was kind of to get a sense of that market and how many people were aware of tabletop fire pits, and just, make connections with, I spoke to a guy that was up there that actually is from near my parents' farm, and he sells compost. And he said there's no other opportunity for him to he handed out 4,000 samples of compost.
Oh, wow.
And he said, there's no other way for me to get in front of 4,000 people in a few days other than that show. And, that was kind of my mentality, is like, get out there, kind of get a sense for how many people know about mini fire pits, how many people want mini firewood, but also not have it turn into work, not have it get too big, too fast.
I totally know what you mean.
Yeah.
Totally know what you mean. You are still a full-time employee working for the man, right? You have to sit in your cubicle and be a good boy and don't eat too many M&Ms out of your neighbor's candy dish, and don't park your car over top of the lines in the parking lot.
Well,
and you be a good boy and enjoy life that way. And then in your free time, you put on your hobbyist hat and you are doing your hobby. You're doing your side hustle, which you've turned into a business that you enjoy doing. There.
Correct. Except for the stealing my neighbor's M&Ms from his cubicle, because I work from home. So technically, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. But that commute is still a bear, huh? Whew,
boy. My goodness. Terrible.
Yeah. So here's the deal. You have your own interests. They are yours. And that's what makes all of us special. We all have what makes us tick. You have chosen to try and find a way to make money by doing what you are interested in doing, and that is selling small firewood. You are not selling compost. You are not raising pecan chickens. Are there anything like pecan ducks? You are not, you haven't started an asphalt company. All right, you're small firewood. And on top of that, you are not interested in, a traditional massive firewood operation with thousands of cords and conveyors and big machines and dump trucks and semis and all. You don't want to do that.
No.
You want to sell small firewood on a scale that you're comfortable with, largely through the mail. Am I right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
you are correct.
And I declare that is awesome. Good for you, Dan.
Thank you. Yeah, it's what I want to do, how I want to do it, when I want to do it, and grow it as fast as I want, as much as I can
Uh-huh.
control.
Yeah. But you stumbled upon someone else in the firewood industry who determined that if you do not do what he wants, that he feels is best for you, then you are wrong and an inferior business mind.
Yeah, he just did not understand or could not grasp the concept of why I did not want to do more firewood, like bulk as much, he was talking
Yeah.
15 to 30 cords a month. And
Of
that was
mini firewood.
of mini firewood.
So that's a lot of splitting.
Holy moly. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of firewood
To
period.
begin with. Yeah. Regular
Yeah, not
firewood.
to
That's a lot.
mention, the extra splitting. And all you're doing is just losing money because you got to touch the wood that much more.
Exactly. And
I'm
losing
I'm being
money,
facetious. Keep going.
losing money of very little money that would be there to begin with.
Yeah.
It's the whole idea of just because it's a lot of, bulk, I guess, quantity and potentially revenue from it, but it's nowhere near worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
one of these things that so many people fail to understand with firewood, I think, is that more is not always better.
Yeah. And what you want to do isn't bad,
No,
and the
no.
inverse is what they want to do isn't bad either. But I think this is the way I see it, Dan. I don't know if you see it this way, that there are people out there that do it their way and they think it is the only way. And that is
Yes.
the only way to make money in firewood, which probably explains some of the heartburn I get because I do firewood different. You do firewood different. And now you run into a firewooder who thinks that it's different than what he does. Therefore, it is wrong.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
he's always done it this way. It's the way that he was brought into the business. And so yeah, if you're not doing it that way, he doesn't understand, and it's he can't comprehend what's wrong with you. Why would you
Yeah.
not want to do this much? Why would you not want to grow your business? Are you scared of success? That's what he
Oh
asked
my
me.
God.
That's what he
Yeah.
kept asking me.
Said, he said, "Are you scared of success?" He said to the world famous firewood influencer and a growing small firewood entrepreneur that is got rapid expanding sales across the United States.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay. keep going. I like where
yeah,
this is going here. Yeah.
it was just,
Yeah.
one
But
of
I
those
like what
things.
you said. Your brother intervened and said, well, let's see. It goes both ways here.
Correct. He was listening, and yeah, he jumped in and was like, "Wait a minute. I think you're the one scared of success because you're trying to pound this off on somebody else like you don't want to do it and you don't want the success."
Yeah. But that's the same relationship that I have with my suppliers because I make my own firewood, but I can't keep up. My supply can't. So I have suppliers that I have met that will supply me. Okay. which means if this was to be analogous here, I would have gone to someone out in the country out here and say, hey, do you want to make firewood for me? I see you make firewood. And they would say, I don't know, how much do you need? And I'd say, I need about 60 cords every 6 months. And they would say, nah, I'm not interested, but thanks for the offer. That would be like me now throwing rocks at them and saying, I can't believe that you don't want to make money.
Right. How are you turning this down? Why wouldn't you want all this money from 60 cords of firewood?
Yeah. No, but what I did, I'd say, I think I will mind my own business and I will say, thank you. It was nice talking to you anyways.
Yeah.
Gosh, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's one of these things that he just could not believe I would want to turn down that opportunity. And it wasn't an opportunity. It was, it was setting myself up to completely hate what I'm doing. And there's more in my mind, there's more to being successful than just how much money or how much bulk firewood you do at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now, you could have been, however, a person who would be interested in bulk production of small firewood, whatever. You don't want to do all the marketing and the customer delivery. You just want to make firewood. And if you found a dealer out there who would love to buy it off of you and resell it, go for it, Dan. That's awesome, but you don't have an interest.
No. Okay. I do not.
Okay. Well, then the conversation's over. Well, that's great. It was nice talking to you. Hey, do you think, here's my card. Let's stay in contact. Maybe we can network going forward. And you would say, hey, that's great. Have a great day.
Or I should have flipped it and said, how about you make me a bunch of mini firewood that I will sell for way more than I pay you to make it?
Yeah. And then he would have said, that's crazy. All I have is a big box store splitter.
Yeah. He would say, well, that's crazy. Why would I want to not make as much money as I am selling mini firewood? Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yep.
God. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that was, I don't want to rain on the parade because it sounded like you had a lot of fun and you learned a lot about your industry and what you are doing, what you can do better, what you don't want to do. Well, we just talked about it. So it was a valuable experience for you, correct?
Correct. And, and just to keep this on like the whole firewood supplier and, like even like bundles. I had a comment on that video from a guy that said he was in the same boat with a campground that wanted to pay him $2.50 a bundle.
Yeah.
When he could when he could actually just sell them for way more. And then he said he ended up where they would want so many, like a couple hundred every week, and they'd call on a Wednesday and then they'd want it on Thursday. It just, it's, if you want to get into that and you have the ability and the equipment, I go for it, but that's not what I want to do.
That is called the free market.
Right.
Yeah. No one tells you what to do, but the market will. The market will tell you if you're doing it good or not, or if you're going in the right direction. You better believe it.
Well, my bank account would tell me that I'm doing all this. I'm doing all this work and it's still empty.
Yeah. Right. And why is my back hurt?
Yeah.
And why do I have no money to count?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that is, that is what I found that to be a insightful view, not just into your situation, but into the firewood industry as a whole, where when you dare to change your approach, when you dare to deviate from traditional dogma in firewood, there is pressure on you to conform and to stay and be a good little boy and stay in your cubicle and don't park your car on the lines,
Yep.
Do
as everyone else is doing.
You better believe it. Yeah. And then what is his response? Like, you want to make more money? You got to sell volume. No, you don't.
No.
No, you don't. How about try selling less firewood and making more money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But anyhow, back to the if you want my we're jumping all over the place here
Uh-huh.
today on this episode, but what yeah, the whole show itself was great learning experience, just seeing how many people were not even aware of what a tabletop fire pit was or mini firewood, and the response was great. Everyone was
Oh, wow.
intrigued. I sold out of all my mini fire pits, sold out
Really?
of all the wood. Yeah.
Huh. That tells me what my knee jerk reaction is. That tells me raise your prices
Yeah.
if you sell out. Yeah. Raise your prices. Let me
Unfortunately,
ask you what.
I had no inventory to raise my prices on because
Yeah.
everything I took was gone.
Yeah. So that I have a question. This has been burning in me. What is the percentage of male female? What's your demographic?
At the show, I would say the people that came up to the booth, it was probably 90% female that were.
No kidding.
Yep.
Wow. That is very interesting. And I think that is a major takeaway from your experience. Now, I don't know, these home and garden shows might be like a female heavy population anyways. I don't know. But to me, that big of a um, that big of a number is important, because I would tell you that should be some major takeaways on your marketing, what your marketing looks like and where you're marketing at. That maybe, that has a mini firewood, resonates with women, maybe with the back porch kind of thing and wine, relaxing evenings kind of a thing.
Yes, it definitely does, and every time there was like a couple, it was always the wife or the woman that would notice the fire pit and then
Yeah.
bring the husband over and then start talking about it. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was always the female. It was always the I guess the boss of the household.
Yeah. The one.
But it does give you some perspective into like thinking about online advertising and selecting your demographic and age group, and it
Yeah.
does give you it did give me a lot of valuable insight into how to start targeting more.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I that to me that's a big deal when I hear that.
Yep.
And that also makes me wonder too about traditional firewood. I never paid attention to this, but I'm going to have to, and I could figure this out. I think that the majority of my orders are ordered by the wife of the house instead of the husband. Interesting.
Yeah.
It just now I'm just sitting here and I'm racking my brain trying to think about who's the ones that's always calling and placing orders. And it is a lot. I would think it's maybe even over 60% are the female placing
Yeah.
orders for firewood. Interesting. I'm
Yes.
curious to see if anyone else out there has insight into that. That's
Yeah.
interesting. But it's definitely in the mini firewood, huh?
Yep. The other interesting thing was just back to that whole people did not even know that a mini tabletop fire pit was something out there, that it was an option, and I think we had talked about how a lot of people will buy houses with fireplaces and never really
Right.
consider burning wood in them.
Yeah. I think that is another consistency between mini firewood and traditional firewood. And that's what the market that I had gone after was all of these houses with these big, beautiful fireplaces, and they are never using them.
Yeah.
And they have 1,001 reasons why. And that's what my business is geared towards, taking all those hurdles away from someone who wants to buy firewood. Well, here you have a product that, I mean, Dan, I'm looking at a lot, major untapped potential. Huh?
Yeah, it's huge because like I said, everyone that saw them was immediately drawn to it, and I had my iPad playing a video on a loop of the little fire pit burning.
Yeah.
When they saw the flame, just like being attracted to the flame and then realizing the size of it, and then all of a sudden you could see in their mind the gears turning, like where they would put it on their patio or on their porch and what they do with it. And then you'd bring up things like, making s'mores or having a glass of wine at the end of the day, and you can just burn it for 20 minutes. And oh my gosh, light bulbs were going off everywhere.
It makes me think too. So your style of fire pit is like that smokeless, the solo stove.
Correct.
Yeah. Which maybe is good for people that are in apartment complexes, but maybe too, Dan, like if you got like a mini fire pit, like the one that mine party that you used to mock because it was too small. I mean, even smaller than that one, like a little miniature cauldron kind of a fire pit. Maybe you could find different styles of fire pits and, start really drilling deep into this.
I
think you're onto something.
Yeah, I had one gentleman talk to me about, he has I don't know if it was a fireplace. The way he made it sound was a fireplace that was really small for like a tiny home. And he said that size wood would be perfect in that. So,
oh, wow.
It's
like a dollhouse.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So you came away from it then. You came away from it energized. Is that right?
Yes.
Would you say? Positive feedback. You're onto something.
Yep. Very inspired. Very, I guess, knowing that the market out there, I think, is just getting started. It's just tapping into it. There's huge potential. Well, especially if some guy is wanting 30 cords a month.
Oh, come on. So was that guy saying that he was selling mini firewood?
No, apparently he had someone that he was like a bulk supplier for a distributor. So I'm thinking he wouldn't tell me any details, but my guess is someplace like Lowe's or Home Depot is going to start carrying mini firewood. And so he's supplying a supplier for like a national chain.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
So he's looking for someone that can help him keep up with the pace.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what's the big deal? You're not the guy. So just leave it at that. Why does there have to be any type of, gosh, don't get me started on this.
Yeah. It's one other interesting takeaway I did have was a lot of people mentioned how their HOA had banned all burning, even grills. I think 5 different people tell me they no longer could have a grill on their patio because of their HOA rules.
Huh.
So that was kind of like disappointing because, that's kind of one thing that is a target market is someone with just a small little patio in a, like townhouse development or I guess, houses in a community. But yeah, the HOAs were cracking down on burning and even grills.
You should market it as Karen-proof fire pits, where the Karens of your HOA won't find out about it.
Right.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine? I mean, to each their own, but boy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get along with people if I lived in a place like that. Would not.
The other fun thing was I had behind me on the booth my banner that said, "Ask me about my small wood." And so, as I'm sitting there, people watching, like people would walk by, they'd look at me, they'd glance up and see the sign, and then one of 2 things would happen. They'd either get a little smirk on their face and chuckle, or they would just like dip their head and frown in like disgust. They just did not appreciate the humor and the comedy stylings that went along with that marketing right there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's terrible.
But I had many compliments on it. I was like, people would just come up and say, "Hey, I'm just stopping over here because I appreciate your marketing style."
Yeah, I thought I saw your booth. I saw your video. I thought you look great. You look legit. You look for real.
Well, by the end of Sunday, I didn't because I had nothing sitting on the table.
The cupboard was bare, huh?
Just a couple pieces that I had, my display pieces of wood just scattered about.
Uh-huh. Well, direct people to your website, huh?
Yep, that's what I did. And I also did what you had mentioned and suggested to me. I would take orders and hold them in the booth with their name and ticket so they could just come back, pick up their order on their way out. They didn't have to
Uh-huh.
carry it around the show the whole day. So that worked
There you
out
go.
great. Thanks again for
Real good.
that little tidbit.
Yeah. Get the money when you can, right?
Yes. If somebody wants to give you the money, you get it right then and there.
Yeah, make it easy. Don't complicate things.
No.
I like it. Yeah. I saw the other thing too. That was like a big, giant, round building you were in. And you know what's great about those big, round buildings is that you don't have to sweep in the corners.
Well, actually, basically, literally, it was it was just the dome on the top, and there was 4 of those domes in the whole like space. Like
Oh, wow.
it's a huge area.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I got the sense you were in like a big coliseum, with a big
Yeah,
round. Uh-huh.
I think from the one end to the other, it was like a quarter mile long.
Uh-huh.
It's just huge.
Now, let me ask you this. Is your future attending these events?
No, not unless I hire someone to go and do the shows for me because I don't
Uh-huh.
want to be doing that.
Why is that? Just it's too much of a time commitment?
Yes, the time and just when would I get to making the actual mini firewood and doing all that? It
Yeah.
would take a lot of time, and I mean the potential and the opportunity I think is huge to sell like that. But again, it comes down to then how do you haul enough inventory to make it worthwhile, and I don't know.
Yeah. I still think your bread and butter's on the internet.
Yeah, I was talking to the booth across from me, and he was saying how he picks out like 3 shows a year, and then the rest of his money he just spends on online targeted marketing. So
Yeah.
you select the city, you get your demographics down, you target that city with $100 worth of ads for a week, and you can end up probably with the same results.
Yeah. And you said you liked Minnesota because it's in like a cheaper mailing zone for you.
Yes. Yep.
And it is probably a firewood friendly region of the United States.
Yep. And
Uh-huh.
it's also fairly quick delivery, so I can ship it out today, and in 2 days they would get it. So I kind of like that from the customer
Uh-huh.
service point of view, being able to deliver, in a hurry, 2 day
Yeah.
shipping.
All right. And then the product, like the firewood that you were selling at this event, it was the same stuff that you would send out in the mail?
Yes.
Same packaging, same everything.
Yep. Except, well, the
All right.
size of the box was a little smaller because I didn't want to have a big bulky box for them to potentially have to carry around or just being real, too heavy.
Uh-huh.
So it was a little smaller box, but
All right.
still had
All
big
right.
things inside it. Small package, big
Yeah.
results.
Well, another indicator that you're onto something is people copying you. So I know that there's others out there that are getting into it. And, I think there's probably enough country to go around right now, but I think that's an indicator, Dan. I think you're doing great. Keep it up.
Well, thank you. Yeah, there's after seeing how many people were in there, and if half the people that were interested end up with tabletop fire pits, yeah, we'll need a few more suppliers of mini firewood.
Yeah.
I
I
can't
think you
cover them
need,
all.
yeah, I think you need to work out a good, I don't know, wholesaling deal on these mini fire pits. I think you need to source different styled fire pits, and and go for it, man.
Yep.
And if you don't, that just tells me that you're not serious and that you don't want to be successful.
I'm scared. I'm
And
scared
you're
of
scared.
success over here. I'm trembling, shaking in my boots.
Gosh. Oh my God.
But no,
Oh,
I have many things on the list here of to go down and start doing.
yeah. All right. Well, that's good. Does any of those include coming out to my place and helping me stack wood?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll have to do it myself then.
That's last on the last list. It's at the very bottom. If I get through all these other things, maybe I'll think about it.
It's after the last is checking into a nursing home, and then it's, oh yeah, go help Joe stack wood.
Yep.
All right. Well, Dan, that sounds great. Congratulations and keep it up, man.
Yeah, thanks again. It was a good time. And I think now it's time for the band to strike.
To strike the band. Strike up the band.
Strike up the band. Yes.
All right. Well, since the band has been struck, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for tuning in to the Wood Hounds podcast, the #1 firewood podcast in the world.
And you can find us on all major streaming services. Every Wednesday morning, 5 a.m., new episodes come out. And after you're done listening, scroll on down and click that 5-star review for us.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. That would. And let's tell everyone out there, Dan, to buy
Back 40 Mini Firewood.
and stay
scared of success.
I was going to say, and don't be
scared of success.
Thank you. And have
a great day.